Is this working? That's what I'm wondering. Is this working? I don't know. Is there like a delay? Is this working? Hey, Dan, is this working? I'm trying something new today. Can you hear me? Is this working? Do I exist? Am I somebody? How y'all doing? Is this working? I'm trying something new today. Can you hear me? Can you see? Can you see two little corner? Somebody told me the other day that baby metal drummers are sick. And I was like, what? It sounds like garbage. Checked it out. What the fuck? They are. They're dope as hell. So it looks like there's some kind of a delay because I'm using Zoom, but that's okay. I'm not going to focus on that for now. I will have an eye on the comments when I can here. So I'm going to kind of tuck you guys over here in this corner. Delay because I'm using okay, a longer delay. I think it's because, but here's the good part. By the way, I am here. I am somebody. Hi. But we're not going to be doing the hi thing. We're going to be doing beep up. This guy. Beep up there. So now you guys should be seeing my Photoshop screen. So yeah, and if you can't hang out, sorry about that. Hello, everybody. So there should be a moment of darkness, terror, great fear, and then you're seeing Photoshop. My Photoshop screen. Great. This way, I can sit and chat with y'all while I work. So, okay, it is Woden's Day. It is morning. My brain is mush right now because Wednesday is our open-close back-to-back shift that we have to do. So we like get off work at 11 p.m. and are back at 7 a.m., which I'm pretty sure is illegal. Not work, school, I mean. Anyway, doesn't matter. Mushy brain is the perfect brain for mapping. Today, I'm going to be doing the maps for my forthcoming Equinox adventure module. So as many of you know, Equinox is my sort of graphic novel that I started at the end of last year. And after really stalling out on it and having a hard time with it, if there's an echo, I'm not sure how to fix that. That could just be connectivity, but yeah, please post in the comments what kind of audio you're getting out there. But I wanted to screen share instead of filming my monitor because I wanted to sort of get into the details and enjoy this mapping process with y'all. So let's just kind of get into it. And I had a great time at MazeCon this past weekend, and really got a potent reminder. How many people sort of just like listen to my streams and stuff. Like it's this kind of Zen kind of like just sort of listening to me talk, whether you're on a commute or you're maybe you're working, you got your headphones on, you're driving, whatever. So I thought it'd be kind of fun, but just to sort of talk through it and just do some work. And filming the monitor is not so exciting. Okay, so I can see your comments, and some of you might be suffering from an echo, but it sounds like we're getting some okay results here. All right, so we're looking at a standard kind of landscape setup here. I don't know if I'm going to keep these lines, but they're going to kind of hem me in. So this first one is going to be Speartooth Shelter. So this is kind of an ice cave. And it has sort of three parts. So let's just start at the entrance. And kind of the idea here is this is what a lot of us do as game masters. And maybe this map, will not be player facing. Maybe this is just for us to run the game. But I still think that even if that's the only purpose that your map serves, it's still real. It can be really, really fun to have a cool map. You know, maybe you use like a sort of a TV as your play surface, and therefore your map is, you know, kind of will see players, like they'll look right at your work, and so like, whoa, you know, got to do a good job then. But in a lot of cases, you know, nobody ever but me really sees the maps that I make, and I still put quite a bit of work into them because they include a lot of hidden data. Because, you know, the job of the game master is always going to be, you know, to set the stage for players to be awesome. And in setting the stage, you know, sometimes it can be difficult to sort of just pull details and nuances out of your butt, you know, just kind of improvising like cool little ideas and details. But if you have a neat map, I think a lot of times it can be easier to sort of see those little details, make them happen for players in their minds, in their imaginations. So I think even if it's only you looking at your map, it can still be important to put in a good deal of work to make it kind of stylized and fun. Okay, so here's the view of Speartooth Shelter's entrance, which looks like a big sort of toothy mouth. Those of you who read the first issue of the Equinox graphic novel will probably remember this little thing. And then, so I'm just going to show that kind of in front view, just so that it's real clear in my head. And it has these kind of stairs going in here. Not quite stairs, but the ice has been cut over the generations. And then we're going to get into this map. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the mapping session. So right now, I'm just basically kind of relaxing my hand and letting my hand introduce, you know, kind of all this silly little detail. You know, are these little bumps in the walls really going to make a big difference when it comes to, you know, playing this adventure? Probably not. But it just, again, having a cool looking map, it's really good for the GM's imagination. Yeah, in this particular one, I am not working in pure black. I am working in a gray, and that's kind of the color that Equinox uses, is this gray color. It doesn't quite use absolute black, so that's kind of what we're working. It is not an error in your in your viewing. So then there's more of a cut chamber here, and we're going to have a door back here. Here's sort of a descent, and I think we want a few key things here. We want, let's see. So then there's more of a cut chamber here. Let's see. So I know I want this kind of. Let me go back just a little bit. I'm going to go back to here. And this area is going to be our sort of corridors, is what I've been calling it. It's like a lot of these little corridors where you can kind of take different routes and have different experiences depending on how that goes. And then we want to do this circuitous route down to our sort of main area, which needs to be like a nice big area like that. I'm really wanting to outgrow my space here. Okay, so there we go. There's your circuitous route. And here it gets like really narrow, and maybe down here there's like some kind of crazy drop off. Okay, so we're going to try to convey all that. Now, you'll notice that a lot of my maps are not actually like choice driven. Like, look at this. There's no real choices here. You go like that. Again, I don't think that the strength in a great map for an adventure is in lots of doors and choices. I think a lot of times the strength is in the vividness, in the player's imagination, like how they imagine this space. We all know this this sort of what I've heard called the game of 20 questions in RPGs, which is like players saying, how close am I to this other guy? Am I far enough here? Can I jump over this gap? Like, where's the torch again relative to us? Are we close to the altar? Where's the skeleton again? All that kind of stuff. And I think the map answers a lot of that, and that's its prime function, not posing complex routing challenges to players, which I think is often mistaken as the primary function of a map. Like, oh yeah, there's 5 different ways you can go in here and all these different doors. And then people wonder why they've been in the same dungeon for 5 sessions, you know. Now, you may just want to be in a dungeon for 5 sessions. That might be your thing. But yeah, I don't see that as the prime function of a map. I see it as providing like implicit detail without me just having to figure everything out as the GM. It's more like I can look at my neat little map drawing that I did and get all this kind of implied detail. So right now I'm just doing like a little bit of 3D work on the side of this. And this, again, this is just to remind me as the GM when I'm playing, like, oh, this drop off kind of has a crumbly edge, let's say, like the ice is breaking here and it's going down into this abyss. Right? Do I really need to do all that drawing and all that to convey what this map is trying to convey? No. There's no audio in the background. We hear playback from your audio. Yeah, well, this is the first time that I'm using screen share via Zoom. Oh, so it is echoing. There's no audio in the background. Damn it. Let me try something. You're just going to continue to be looking at, you might be even looking at darkness here for a second. Let me try this instead. Let's try that microphone. Okay, now, how's that feel for y'all? There we go. So you're back at looking at the map now. Now, how does that feel for audio? It's not going to be as robust, but it might not have the echo. All right, back into my map here. So in here are what I've been calling the corridors. So I want like several options. Let's see. So I'm going to draw the spaces like this. It's kind of an opportunity for players to kind of lose each other a little bit and be running around. No echo now? Oh, great. Cool. Good news. Good news. So then we'll have 2 options that converge here. So these are not pits. These are solid matter. And so we're going to get into how I'm going to do the shading to make sure that my brain sees that. But first, I need this outside line to be nice and strong. So I'm going to go back over it. Slightly bigger pen. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. I know it's been a while since I've been online. I'm between games at the moment. My Roll20 game as well as my basement game both concluded their campaigns. So I've just been taking a little bit of a break. Just from YouTube. Meanwhile, the RPG madness, of course, continues. Drove down to Asheville, North Carolina for a little sort of family style con called Mace. Some of you might have been there. Nice to meet you and hang out and play. Yeah, so there, I'm getting that nice, that exterior line gets heavier and I get happier. That way, as I'm continue to work with these smaller pens, you know, I feel the edge in a way that just is sort of satisfying. Okay, so here we have these corridors, right? Like here's players moving through like that. Let's see, how do I make this kind of interesting? I think I'm going to add like some pillars and stuff. So this is a really cluttered environment, and it's going to be a really good spot to get into some scrappy combat in here and kind of make it scary, because it's very easy to get a little bit turned around inside this kind of weird little thing. But notice I'm not really making a maze per se. You don't have like 5 doors going 5 directions and you can't remember if you went right or left. It's more like I don't know, like a colonnade almost, you know, like you're in this space with all these breakups. But if you just kind of dash around, you kind of wind up getting, you know, you can kind of get to any given part of it. It's not like you go down dead ends and, you know, find another doorway and all that kind of stuff. It's just a little more like sort of large scale scatter. The other thing that has caused echo before on the streams is just not my internet, just the internet. I swear you cannot get very good upload internet in this world. It is not a product you can get. All internet service is designed for people to download things, and it's just like you cannot get good upload speeds. It's just horrible, especially certain time of the day and stuff like that. Okay, so anyway, onward. There's also a teacher in this dungeon. So we're going to put that in. One of this sort of vestibule or front room to be large enough to sort of live in or camp in. And then I wanted a very narrow route back into the deeper cave. Like that. There we go. So see, that creates a little narrow spot. And then we're going to put some stairs. When your stair lines are decreasing, in my mind, that's supposed to indicate downhill or the direction of the stairs, right? What goes down is smaller lines. I think that's a pretty common practice in mapping. So we're going to do it here too. Maybe there's some little pylons here next to this stairway. Turn back. Kapalanu, you might hear an echo. I think everybody watching is hearing different amounts of echoing. So I'm going to try to just not focus my brain on it, or I will not be able to move on and just do what I'm doing. Sorry if there's an echo, ye people. So standard stuff here, nothing earth-shattering as far as the design of this space. Might be cool though to have one offshoot sort of doorway, and it's deeper in the dungeon down here, and could be used by players in some way. Exactly what that is, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But my computer is definitely in overdrive right now. I can hear it. All right. Yeah, I don't know if this whole idea of like screen share and everything is really very good. I swear everything that was easy on YouTube 5 years ago is no longer easy and no longer works. It's so weird. Like, remember the days of Google Hangouts and how great and easy that was and how great the frame rate always was, and it was so easy to use. And they're like, no, we're Google, so we're just going to cancel that whole app and screw you. They also did that with Google Drive now, which, like, I totally relied on Google Drive for my productivity. And they basically just turned it into this unusable steaming pile of garbage recently. It's really weird. Their philosophy of like why they're awesome is very weird to me. Okay, so here we have the main chamber. So let's think about the teacher chamber, which I think has like these terraces. Like that. And these terraces go up on either one. So how do I indicate that when there's no stairs? I kind of do this little trick. Because remember, my goal here is to give myself shorthand footnotes to describe the map. And, for those who haven't been on a stream in a little while or just catching up, my main projects recently have been working with DM Scotty. Well, you're lucky, Dread Maps, because you can't buy Google products. They're all free. Yeah, working with DM Scotty on his forthcoming book. Going to be really great. Really, really happy to be working with the incomparable Sean Bova doing our art. He is absolutely slaying it. So great to work with him. And then I'm also working on my new book, Hard Suit. And of course, you know, just talking to people all over the place about ICRPG and Death Squad and all that good stuff. And, you know, trying to stay alive in this crazy world of ours. And we all know a lot about the really, really horrible world events occurring right now. But as I always say on YouTube, not necessarily here and to get into all that kind of crazy negative stuff that's happening out in the world. It's not that we're not all aware of it. We are all painfully aware of it, but just for a few hours, we can take a little bit of a break. And, you know, sometimes you can get a little crazy watching too much news, you know, so we don't really, we're going to kind of let that sit for just a minute. Okay, right back here, we have this teacher stone, and I kind of want to have a little bit of fun with this. So I'm going to kind of break my perspective a little bit and do it like that. Okay, right? So there it is. There's the teacher stone. And this thing is like dark stone with these light colored designs all over it. So we're just going to kind of do that. So you see how it's like suddenly side view? Like, hankering, bruh, what are you doing? You can't just suddenly go to side view. And I say to that, oh, sure I can. Because again, the purpose of the map not necessarily being literal description to be played in 5-foot squares, but inspiration for me as the game master to give, you know, interesting and exciting descriptions. Not necessarily a surface to literally be played on by players. So now I'm just kind of winging some little designs that are on here. Those of you who've read Blood and Snow know about the teacher stones. They're these crazy ancestral carved codex stones or stelae. Every time, next person to say stelae is getting pistol whipped. All right, so there's my teacher stone. Right, and it's just in this chamber, like on this sort of terrace like this. So I'm just going to kind of pull a bit of a Bob Ross and kind of change now from side view almost into like sort of pseudo perspective. Because remember, hammering this point home, the point of my map is not a surface upon which to literally place miniatures, but a reference for me to create creative ideas and descriptions. Also, they're cool. You know, like if I'm publishing, I want to put a cool vision into the mind of the GM who's reading my adventure and getting ready to treat players to it. So like coolness in a map, I think is a huge part of making it like, oh, wow, I kind of want to get into that. I'm struggling to draw streets without drawing rooftops. Claustrophobic and boxed in. You know, when it comes to things like streets and cities and things like that, drawing them almost never does justice to how complex this type of environment can be. I really strongly suggest using like concept art if you're getting into something like that. I assume maybe you're running some kind of cyberpunk or something. But, you know, rooftops are an integral part of that environment. Yeah, you're in a little bit of a pickle there. But yeah, for me, when it comes to something as complex as a city, I rely on either, you know, like a Google map type look or a concept art type look. So the Google search I would do would be like cyberpunk city concept art. And let your sense of space be a little bit flexible, because in such a complicated environment, trying to be accurate with space is really, really hard. Okay, so there we go. I have a little much noise here. I got a little scratchy with things. I'm going to kind of clean it up a bit. There we go. Scratchy. Okay, so you can kind of feel the contour there. So you can feel going down and then kind of going up, and maybe there's a little, there's a little spot where people in the past have kind of made a little go through right here to get up this little piece of the terrace. So remember, as your lines shrink, they go down. So that it just works on the brain really good because you can feel it right here, right? Of like how this goes down and then that goes up. And so you know that this is a lower area, and like that's powerful when you're describing a complex space to players. All right, so we're getting somewhere now. I'm not really digging this. The perspective here is kind of messing with my brain, so I'm going to kind of ease off that. And if you're wondering what the little clicks are, it's like when I move between pen size, I almost do like 3 clicks in size. That way I have a big pen and a small pen, and they're always the same because it's just 3 clicks on the keyboard. Hey, thanks for that, Norm. Appreciate it. Just hanging out, mapping, just doing the thing that I do. So let's come back to the entrance for a second. The entrance, it's time to do this work. So we're going to put, maybe there's a skeleton here. And you guys know I kind of have a shorthand for skeletons, like doing that. And some bones. So it's kind of the minute that you put skeleton or bones or something, it's kind of a scary place, right? Like this has not been cleaned up if there's a skeleton in there. Maybe there's like sort of a detritus area. So there's kind of some sticks over here. Maybe this is firewood that has been cached by previous shelter users. So that's kind of cool, right? Because all these little clues kind of point to the status of this space, which, is what players are always the most interested in my experiences. They want to know, is anybody in here? When was the last time they were here? A lot of questions like that. And just these little shorthand visual pieces help me execute that. So back here, I know this is the main area. So let's do our main fire pit here. Remember, this is like super cold ice cave. So you're going to need a nice, robust fire pit. And we'll kind of put some little logs in here with white ink. Here, let's do the sort of classic cartoon fire kind of thing where they're all set up like that. There we go. And that's just a shorthand, for like, or don't forget, this is a fire pit. And then there's a little stack of wood next to it. And I think maybe there's like a sort of a bench along the wall where like travelers will sit. Maybe there's a rock right here that you can sit on to sit by the fire. There's a fire stick sitting there. You always got to have a fire stick. Anybody who's done any amount of camping knows that a good fire stick. Oh yeah, Junked. Thanks, Matthew. Junked was super duper fun, and yeah, thanks for not coming when you're sick. We played, I think, 7 games of Junked, and posted a few photos on the gram. Really good time. It was a real hoot. Having the extra cars really made a difference. Gave a lot more choice and a little more sass, Okay, now I'm going to put, just for fun, there's kind of like little sets of footprints going through here. Like a little visual cue. And that's probably about enough for the opening space. And so I think if I'm a player and I'm walking into this, I kind of have like 3 areas I want to investigate. And that's my opportunity as the GM to kind of introduce some little details and some, little foreshadowing, maybe little treats to those who search rooms. So there you go. So that's about where we want our map to be as far as density throughout. And then we're going to do like some shading at the end to make sure it's clear what's solid and what's not and all that good stuff. Okay, so our first room, this is basically the shelter room. This is where hunters come to get out of the weather, to spend the night while they're hunting or retrieving a carcass or whatever. And then lower in the cave is kind of where you don't go, right? So let's put some unstable boulders right here. That's always exciting. And these are, every session is going to go sometimes as you think it's going to, and sometimes completely different. Maybe something takes longer than you thought it would, or it happens way too fast, whatever. And so in my maps, I like to have little options of things I could pick up on if I need a little bit of extra content, a little bit of extra something to do. And so adding some rubble like this kind of makes me think as the GM, like, ooh, it looks like unstable boulders, right? So maybe we have some kind of challenge or some kind of hazard around these stairs. A reason that hunters don't go down these stairs. They're superstitious, the edges are unstable, and so forth. Hey, Simon, what's up? Sorostam, that's a dope last name you got there. When are your next campaigns starting? Found out your channel, cool. Oh yeah, you want to follow a campaign from the get-go. Well, that would be my Hardsuit campaign. So as many of you know, I build a lot of my published products directly from the actions of players at actual tables, so that I'm not just kind of making stuff up, and so I'm going to run a campaign of Hardsuit to build and finish the Hardsuit book itself. So I will be reporting on that game as it goes, and it should be starting right here in the beginning of April. Yep, rocks fall, everybody dies. Okay, so I have this kind of mundane or normal area, right? Which is where hunters take shelter. But as I descend further and further into this, I want things to get weirder, okay? So this next space down here, I think is actually, there's a scene of doom and gloom down here. So we're going to do some skeletons. There's like 4 bodies laying in this cave down here. Like one has the foot off of here, one has the leg chewed off, right? And this is kind of like the entrance to Vermithrax's lair in the old Dragon Slayer movie, where they come across the baby dragons eating the princess. It's kind of a similar space where you go from, okay, this is a cave, to like, oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, this is worse than a cave. And then maybe we have this sort of growth on the wall. Oh, also I need to do murals, because murals are in the comic. And you guys are going to see how all this stitches together once the Equinox adventure comes out. It'll be free on Patreon. So what are these on the wall? Kind of like eggs or something. And then we need to do murals. So how am I going to draw what's on the wall? Well, I'm going to kind of make a floor here, like a floor line. And then kind of do this like extreme perspective mural. So like, see what I mean? This is kind of, here are the great sky people that descended, and the long boats were sent forth, and many suns passed. There we go. So see that you're not getting a lot of like crazy wow factor from that, but as a GM, it's shorthand. It's, oh, there's like petroglyph type stuff here. Here's the great world snake eating the 4th star. Whatever. Here are the sky people. So again, it's not just about like, I have to show my drawing prowess. It's making little shorthand. I like the idea of some liquid water. I don't know if it's believable, because this is insanely cold, but let's hold on to that idea, Dread. And let's do a frozen sort of water space. Where could that be? Well, let's think about rhythm to the dungeon. So the movement challenge is going to be kind of up here in this right corner. So let's relieve some of the clutter there. kind of just past the halfway mark. And we're going to make this a frozen like river that's coming through the cave. So here's the entrance, and here is the exit to the cave, to the frozen river. And this is going to just provide another kind of movement challenge for players. And we're going to have to do a lot of drawing work here to make sure this doesn't come off as a pit, because it's going to look like a pit at first. So bear with me. Okay, so now here's the current. And maybe there's like a piece of a rock or ice right here. So we're going to want the current to kind of go around that. And I think you want to show that this is a cavern edge here, like an entrance. So it's kind of like that. Let's continue to do some like current lines. Make sure that I'm absolutely clear that this is not a pit, but it is water. But wait, is there current though? It's frozen. But that's okay. I will remember, because I'm in pure ice world here. So I think I will absolutely remember that this is pure ice, not running water. There we go. See, and is it conveniently placed right in the path of the players and stuff? Yes, of course it is. This is a dungeon. Don't worry about explaining every detail of your anomalous environment and just how it happens to be bespoke for player fun. That it's totally okay. All right, cool. So anyways, these pillars, we're going to have to sort of do some drawing work on them so that they feel solid. But I don't think I need to do all that 3D stuff, and I'll show you how I'm going to deal with that later. Okay, so we have done our kind of mundane campers, hunter's shelter. And then we've done this mysterious kind of disaster room where some catastrophe occurred. A little set of footprints here. Hey, BGD, what's up? There are no tentacles in Blood and Snow, really. I guess if you were on a nautical journey, there could be. I can't do it as a frozen chemical. I can't do a lot of these crazy things, because you guys got to remember that Blood and Snow, except for a few key things, is a very, very literal kind of world. There's very limited amount of mystery. It's a naturalistic kind of environment. So I got to have some discipline there. Okay, so here we have the teacher room. And again, this is where I really want to lean in on the eggs. Huge clusters of eggs. And not really worrying about perspective here so much. Just remember, giving myself those shorthand reminders. The walls in the room with the teacher stone are covered in eggs. And there's a couple on the floor here and there. A little grub cruising around right here. Here's a little grub here. Again, not necessarily literal, but just being little reminders. I had a really good mentor long ago who said, you can learn everything there really is to learn about drawing by drawing circles. If you can draw good circles and move on after drawing them, you really learn a lot of the core lessons about drawing. Namely, that you can just truck on. You don't have to worry about perfection, but also to let your hand draw. We've all seen that pain of seeing someone like sort of trying to draw a circle, and they'll just try again and again, or they'll very carefully inch their way around the circle like this. I gotta draw this and oh, I suck so bad, I'm gonna undo that. Oh, I gotta Oh, darn it, there's a bump on it. I can't have that. And then, oh, I did. Oh, I can't. That's not good enough. I think if you can learn to live with the circles that you draw, you can be a better human. So draw your circles and eat your vegetables. All right, more of these little grubs. See all the little grubs crawling around? So it's like, are there actually, 7 grubs exactly in this room or whatever? No. But this just gives me a reminder. And like I said, it's cool. Great, we're looking good now. Hit that save button. Yeah, the eggs definitely add a kind of a, uh-oh. The walls are moving a little bit, guys. But these aren't spiders or anything, so don't add, I don't want to be adding spider webs here. In a lot of ways, they're worse than spiders. Add some little sort of trails, little stair cuts that people have used over the centuries to navigate this room. And there, I'm feeling pretty good about that space now. Like the sort of the density feels on point, right? Old cave, stairs leading into the second chamber would create a skill challenge to access the secrets. Sure. All right, so here we have our next sort of major descent. So we go from the teacher chamber, which has this weird humming, ominous feeling and all these eggs, and probably going to have some encounters in there. And to get into all the encounters and stuff, you're going to have to take a look at the adventure. We're just doing the maps today because we're doing 3 of these bad boys. This is just the first one. Okay, so here I want to keep it really quite simple. I'm going to put some dotted lines to indicate that this is an underwater flow. Players might want to exploit that in some way. Okay. And really, I'm not going to do a lot here. I'm just going to put some dirt. I guess it's not really dirt. It's kind of like snow and ice, right? But just these little dots just to give it some presence. Maybe there's a little cache of firewood back here. More importantly, just something for a player to discover. Maybe there's another skeleton, tucked here by the frozen water. Maybe there's actually a skeleton frozen into the water. That's fun. This is some poor soul who failed to traverse this when it was melted, or fell into the running water that's just under the ice, as Calgary mentioned. Yes, Capilanu. I do use I am using just a basic ellipse brush, the absolute most basic brush in Photoshop right now. Again, I'm a real big believer on what your hand can do, not necessarily a lot of that stuff, but I also use complex brushes now and again. I will here pretty soon on this map, actually. You'll get to see that here just in a second. I'm going to put a little bonus group of eggs down here. Always keep reminding these players there are eggs on the walls here. Maybe there's a little grub down here. The little grubs just basically look like little baguettes. Okay, now we have our sort of, scariest stairway. So again, I think for the sake of informing me and my reader about why this corridor is kind of intense, I'm going to break perspective and add a ceiling here over this stairway. And we're going to do a bunch of like super sharp stalactites coming down from above. And I think just to drive this home, we're going to do this stairway in perspective. So this whole little section, oop, I wonder what that is. here we go. So see, you kind of, this is the funniest way to draw stairs. You draw a zigzag line and then kind of do that and put little vertical lines on the back. It's a total goofy trick to draw stairs. I think I have a knock at my door. I will be right back. All right, here I come. This is my dog food delivery. All right, so there's little stairs on the other side. Or are there? No, let's do something simpler. Just kind of, there we go. Grottos and alcoves are the kind of funny word that my players would like fixate on. You know, can I fire a magic missile at the grotto kind of stuff. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here by switching to perspective is just saying like this stairway is kind of crazy. All right, and let's make it a little crazier. Let's break it. It's like that. All right, so there's this spot in these icy stairs that's completely busted. Kind of a classic trope, you know, in fantasy, ever since Khazad-dûm, the deep bridge. Right, but this, you know, if need be, could provide another interesting sort of skill challenge. You could have, you know, some falling icicles from above, and there are some creatures in here. But again, besides the grubs stuff, you're probably going to have to read the adventure to find out more about that. So see, it's just crazy. It's like right here for no good reason. I just switched to sort of perspective or side view. Because again, I'm not making, you know, a top down, you know, this is an exact measurement of space so that you can measure your 5 foot squares. I'm not doing that. I'm making a map that creates imagination fuel. There's a couple eggs here at the end of the stairs. Yeah, JD, I got to play Morkborg on Friday at the con, on Friday afternoon at the con. It was really fun. I'm not a huge fan of the kind of the chaotic layout in that book. I think it's kind of gimmicky. But the game design really is really fun. And I'll tell you, nothing is funnier than so-called, you know, black metal type stuff. It is so funny because it's so serious. It is just hilarious. Our GM was brilliant, and he was like, you know, playing off tables quite a bit, which is a big part of Morkborg for sure. And, you know, reading a lot of this zany stuff out of Morkborg. And it was just so freaking funny because it's trying so hard to be serious. It's just it's just hilarious. That was a really funny game. I got beheaded. So I think I should get a scout badge for that. I got beheaded playing Morkborg. Oh, that's JD. Hey, what up, my dude? Well, now I know. All right, so here we go. Kind of adding some irregularity to this this pit here. So this is a big gap, and what you're kind of asking players is why? Why is there a gap here? And as the GM, you're asking yourself the same thing. And I think your answer is that you really want some pursuit here. You know, and in a lot of the stuff that I work on, I'm, you know, a huge believer in time pressure, making things relevant or interesting in any kind of game. You got to have that time pressure. And especially when it comes to like traversal challenges, time pressure is king. And I think other humans, remember, have used this area. So let's tempt our players, whether they're being pursued or not, with a bridge. But we all know, anybody who's played any significant amount of D&D knows, trust ye not thy rope bridge, lest ye plummet into the pit. Right, so we got this rope bridge on here. And then, of course, we're going to need some missing planks and some half planks. I mean, it wouldn't be a rope bridge without that, right? So there's your little rope bridge. You cut off the tips of the planks like that. Cut off the tips of these planks, so they doesn't look like a hot dog bridge. And there's your little bridge. Yeah, sacrifices. I got beheaded in Morkborg. I got beheaded in Morkborg. Fun times. All right. You may be cool, but are you beheaded in Morkborg cool? All right, so we have these ropes that kind of go from one side to the other, like That's too funny that JD is just in the live stream. That's comical. All right, there we go. And then there's these little like down ropes, right, that make the whole thing kind of work or barely work, as the case may be. And this second line, this kind of came in the wrong spot, so I'm going to redo that. It needs to be like right here. There we go. I got to get my perspective right. And then we'll kind of move these little pylons so that they work right. That's better. Look at that little believable little rope bridge. I mean, is that believable or what? Come on, get out of here, guys. Get out. Do not come back. Just get out. That's too fun. That is hilarious. Hi, I'm suddenly in perspective. Okay, whatever. All right, so do a couple dots just to give things a couple little tracks. Now I can't take forever on this because remember I got a couple maps to go. So yeah, I'm hip, JD. I'm with it. All right, cool. There we be, there we be, there we be. All right, so now let's finish this sucker up and get decisive. So we have some kind of huge megalithic door here. So I'm going to kind of play with a little more. I'm going to give it a little bit of like a top-down kind of look. Just again, so that my brain doesn't kind of just think default door. No, it's got to be cooler than that. It's like this tall Gothic, like coffin-shaped door. It's got these little things on the side. I don't know what those things are. It doesn't matter. Like there's this like a little ring that you grab there. And then it swings out and there's kind of a track where it's swung several times. Okay, so anyways, there's a crazy door there. It's insanely thick. Let's give it some thickness. So, ooh, that's a thing maybe that players might want to exploit, the thickness of this big door. Okay, so anyways, then we have this room. What the hell's going on in here? And I think for those who go to the trouble of getting into this, like it's sort of frozen shut, insanely heavy, kind of a big distraction to get in here. I think as a reward, you get like a sort of a science room, like in my Red Sword adventure, you know, you have a sort of a science room where there's a lot of subtle answers and stuff. So it's on the floor. So we're going to stay in a top-down kind of mindset here because we answer to no rules in this life. We're here to have fun. And then it's like some kind of crazy diagram. So like it shows like this winged creature. And then like a confluence or a conjunction of planets. And then there's like this crazy like life cycle diagram. Like the life cycle of this weird creature from grub to chrysalis to nymph, pupae, all the cool insect words. Here we go, here we go. Gonna add some little hooey dooey here just to give it some feel. So it's like, there are designs. I don't need to draw all those designs. I just know that there are designs. A couple little spirals always make things feel like ritualistic or magical. And that's probably enough, honestly, for my sort of shorthand effect, right? And to help communicate to my readers. Whoa, there's this room with a weird diagram on the floor, and it's like a hexagon room. Cool. All right, now we get to finish. And then we'll do our shading pass to make sure that the eye understands positive and negative space. Exploit the thickness. And when you're down with the thickness, when you're down with the thickness, how many of you chuckleheads are? Oh wow, there's 74 people here. That is bizarre. Imagine if we were in a room together. How crazy that would be. It would be like a huge ass class or a house party. Hey-o. All right, so here we are at the nadir of Speartooth Shelter, the deepest part of the cavern. These small rocks have been arrayed to create a ritualistic entrance experience. Okay. And now you have the door of Edemu. And the door of Edemu is what occupies the final room. Now I've got a little bit of a warp here that's bugging me. I'm just going to ditch this. Bye. Okay, now in perspective, the door of Edemu. Whoa. She big. I know it has these like circuloid shapes. Now I'm a little close to my broken stairway, so let's not get too crazy. I'm going to come down there. Okay, now we're going to give it some thickness and some 3D. The door of Edemu. And this is the actual door. Now there's going to be a fun step here, which is, for those of you who read issue 1 of Equinox, you know, this door leads to fucking outer space. So I think I was telling Calgary earlier, like, hey man, we can't get too crazy. This is a really realistic world. No, sorry about that. I was tugging on your lariat. Here we go. Here we go. The door of Edemu. You can kind of see this little interior surface here. You can see a small interior surface there. Actually, we want that to be nice and clean cut. So I'm going to cut it nice and flat like that. There we go. Now inside this sucker, we have got outer space. increase, which is portrayed by several small dots. Oh my God, look, it's Andromeda. I see reticulans in there. Oh, all right. Here we go, here we go, here we go. The door of Edimu. And it's like, has like carvings all up the sides of this thing. Kind of like a Stargate type vibe. Okay, it's not a Stargate vibe. It's basically a ripoff. And that's okay. The door of Edimu. All right, there it is. Look at that sucker. She's big. And now we have some skeletons, and we're going to make them a little smaller scale so kind of imply this is bigger than it's being drawn. Skeletons, baby. This skeleton is no longer in one piece. So like the leg and the arm and over here. Here's a foot. Here's an arm. Okay. This Edimu chamber is going to be the scene of an extremely difficult battle. So I'm going to need some features. I think this corpse is in my way. I think I'm going to add like these weird little sort of relay pylons here. I don't know what a relay pylon is, but it's some kind of a little shape that involves the weird sort of gravimetric forces that create the door of Edimu. And these like pylons are somehow important for that effect to occur, that phenomenon to occur. So what are these? I don't know. I don't really care that much. There's something for players to latch onto, to use, to exploit, to describe. The rest of the room is a nice kind of open space to do a, what some might call a boss battle. It's an homage. That is a cool portal. Well, thank you. Thank you kindly for your complimentation of my portal skills. Now that looks like a gap behind it. So do I want to? No, I don't even need to work on the thickness. And there we go. I think I'm about done. Give this some thickness. And I'm down with the thickness. Now this one also we need eggs down here because I'm down with the thickness. There's a bunch of eggs. Come on, with your cup, put it down with the thickness. Come with your back, thickness. Man, is that annoying. All right, so here we go. Eggs, 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 eggs. I'm drawing eggs. I'm drawing circles. I'm drawing eggs. They're little shells. I'm drawing eggs. And here's a pupae. Out of my goddamn mind. Remember, I got to keep going kind of quick here because this isn't the only map we're doing. I'm a savage like that. All right. Great. Look at that. That's looking fun. So real quick now, I'm going to grab my crosshatch brush. This is like, I have posted this brush numerous places for people to grab if you're interested in grabbing and using it. It's called Fast Hatch, and it's right here. This is my proprietary cross-hatching invention so that you can do quick and awesome cross-hatching in your work. When you're down with the thickness, when you're down with the thickness. So this crosshatch is mainly going to be used so that the eye can really easily discern what is walkable space and what is not. Now, is using fast hatching as good as just perfectly bespoke hand-done cross-hatching? No. But you will literally use your whole afternoon doing hand-done cross-hatching. And it is ultra nice out today. I don't know about where y'all are, but it is beautiful out today. I'm going to get out there and ride my bicycle. I'm going to walk my dog, you know what I mean? So you can see how this effect gives the eye a nice clear reference on where the edge is. See that? It kind of sinks the cave into the page in a way. And it works really good. It works really good, if I do say so myself. If I may toot my horn. Obviously, cross-hatching the edge of a dungeon map is an age-old tradition in our hobby. And here's where the rubber's really going to hit the road as far as the value of cross-hatching to help the eye see the map. And that is on these sort of blockages in here. See how fast that is? Isn't that satisfying? God, it's so pleasing to just lay those down. Okay, so here, this is where it gets crazy because I'm going to go on the inside, right? Because this is not walkable in here. And then you really get this magic effect on the eye of like seeing it pop out. Ain't she nice? Ain't she pretty? Isn't she lovely? Isn't this a nice cave to die in? Oh man, it's raining up in the PN dubs, huh? Nothing new there. I'll tell you, the weather in Philly is like the nicest weather on the earth. It is unbelievably good. It is so nice. Everything goes around Philly as far as weather. It's crazy. Probably why they put the city here 300 million years ago in the late Triassic. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Let's quit wasting time. Get it done. Don't be no chump, no succotash fool toy. Bring the heat and take it back to the street. There we go. And that is all I'm going to do for that one. Hooray! Okay, so that is done. Do I need this? I kind of like the outline. It's honestly kind of fun. I don't think I even really need to talk about scale or anything. I think I'm just friggin' straight up done, son. I'm done, son. Okay, back to my default brush. There we go. So I'm gonna hit save on that, go to my layers. This is spear tooth. Okay, our next one is the Gigan. Now I want comparable size, so I just make these little hash marks like that. See that? Little calibration marks. Now I can hide that. And now we're gonna do the Gigan. Don't miss it. What? I would white out the middle. I'm drinking water and it went down the wrong pipe. The middle on that top left, tiny cross-hatched pillars. What? What? That's some picky shit. Okay. Wait a minute. The top left. Oh, you're probably seeing a reversed image. Okay, there we go. There, you happy? I completely inhaled water like a fish. Oh my God. All right. Boop, doop. Okay, hide the layers palette. Don't need that. And we're in business. Okay, the next map is the RSS Gigan. This is a massive space freighter. And you know, I like to do starship maps like this just as one kind of level. I know there are a bunch of different levels in starships, but you know, I'm not really interested in that for the moment. Kind of like my red sword map, you know, it's just painfully simple, but that adventure has been played so many times by so many people. I kind of just believe in it and its methodology. So here, this is just a rough shape concept. Now I'm just cloning it to get myself started. So to start my my freighter. Right, so there we go. That's the beginning of a starship map. And then really what we're going to be doing here is sort of asking questions about, what could make cool gameplay. So the front of this freighter is a capture bay. Again, getting all this kind of hidden sort of world data from issue 2 of Equinox. If you're wondering like why I seem to just sort of know things off the top of my head. More than man. Is that like a Darth Vader reference? Only with fish? Trout Vader. He's more machine now than man. Bogey, 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 bogey. I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're going to have 50 more Star Wars shows, and they'll all be on Tatooine. All right. So here's this capture bay in the front. And like the ship has some contouring on the front, so you can kind of get in a little bit of contour, whatever. It's got these little like sort of navigation deals. Man, I totally inhaled that water. That is so funny. Basically going to become deceased. All right, so now I'm going to put some of these sort of little doodads on here. You got to greeble up your starships, right? We get some Zentradi lumps going, an extra sort of flight fin over here, and then we're going to add like a kind of a side bay or module here. And we'll revisit all this and make it awesome here in time. We're just kind of getting the shape down so that it feels like it's big and it feels like it's a ship and feels complex and all that good stuff. You're starting to be able to feel it there. F my life, the cross-hatching brush. Yeah. Kaplan New. If you don't already have the fast hatch brush and you want it, you can either find it on Patreon. I can't remember the other spot that I put it, but you can just email me directly and I will hook you up. I will hook your shit up, B. You know what I mean? Edie, know what I mean? All right. Let's stop with the 80s jokes. Is Idi Amin from the 80s? I'm not sure. Idi Amin? Isn't he like a Egyptian prime minister or something? Or wait, no. He's like Palestinian dude. No, that's Yasser Arafat. Anywho, I'm doing these engines here. I'm drawing lines because technology is cool. And just basically zipping around doing little details so that I feel fun about how this is designed. Here's a little comms and scanner cluster out here. Going to start breaking the kind of the top-down rigidness of the map here pretty soon because I get weary of it. There, so see how you start to get this feel of a ship? Uganda. That's where Idi Amin is from? Dude, thank you. Thanks for the hookup on that. Idi Amin, bro. That's awesome. Oh, man, Idi Amin. I miss you. So that's the 70s, huh? Crazy. I am old, but not as old as some, but older than others. And so turns the wheel of our lives. All right, so let's get a little bit more thickness here so I get that nice solid feeling on the outside line that I like. This is my world, and I want it to be the way that I want it to be. You're not my real dad. All right, so up here, like, is there a contour right there? I don't know if I like that. Yeah, sure. There's like a contour right here. The same contour as like that, right? So that's like the contour of the upper deck you're seeing. But we're not going to see that because we're kind of going to see a bit of an X-ray here. And hey, what's up, Monkey Raff? Yeah, you are going to get better results doing hand cross-hatching. Don't fool yourself into thinking that it's going to be as cool. It is not as good. But it all comes down to, how do you want to spend your life, fool? All right, here's the bridge. And I'm not showing it to you right now, but there are several perspective shots of this ship, which show the ship. So you have a reference for it. So I don't really need to show you all of that. I kind of want this engine bay to be on a cavity, like on the back of a Star Destroyer as well. So let's do that. And then we're going to add, so here's the cavity. Right, it's like where you see sort of slightly into the interior of the ship where the engines are. And then we're going to add some engines. We're going to add some perspective as well to these engines so that it's cooler. And then let's like do these kind of ring mounted things. Okay, so they're like going in like that. And then there are some inset engines. Right, and then one of these engines needs to be up on top of the others to make this visual make sense. So here's like the upper engine, right? Because they're often in like a triangular or a sort of an irregular array. And draw lines because sci-fi is cool. And then clean up my mess. Make a little bit of room for the mount or the sort of the tube of the engine. And then continue all these little inset engines. And there we go. There you get that impression of the back of a ship. Again, not necessarily to, do perfectly accurate mapping, but to give impressions and give ideas, make ideas happen. All right, and just let your hand be loose here and there, even when you're drawing technology. It's okay to just have little squiggly gibbets and flippity blibs. All right, so here is the bridge. And it, of course, has like a cool, Yamato Star Blazers kind of aesthetic because it has to. And this includes the front observation bay, where the captain stands, and then up on the roof, you have like the comms array. Okay, so we're not going to do like everything here. We're not going to do all these details, but just make a note of the comms array. Make a note in a way that this is the big window at the front. See, again, always trying to, reinforce. This is a starship. Put your mind into the starship sort of mentality so that you can improvise all the details of all these structures if need be. Okay, so here's our bridge. She done, that's enough. Yeah, totally like a blockade runner. All right, so now I need to do like what kind of matters, so to speak, as far as the mapping. What are the rooms and chambers in this ship? Because remember, we're kind of seeing an X-ray here. So I need to do work as a mapper, not just as a sort of style guy. So I probably don't even want these wings on here because they're the exterior. They're kind of in the way. This needs to be corridors and spaces. So the bridge can be accessed on either side from a like bent staircase thing like this. And then boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Maybe the chamber underneath kind of has this curved shape to it. whatever. All right, so now we have pressure doors. Hooray. So how are we going to do pressure doors? I think we'll just do them kind of like this. And there, I'm just going to grab this little piece of art so that all the pressure doors look the same. Okay, so we've got one that goes from the capture bay into the rear of the ship. We've got, I'm just going to kind of put them where, I guess you want two for engineering. That. And then this center area is probably not quite this simple. So go from the capture bay back, but then you have a sort of side area here, which we're going to decide what that is in a second. Okay, so you got all our layers. So now let's do the work. Okay, so this side area is like this. This goes to like this. Now that's the capture bay. This is my sort of peripheral sort of side bay. And these are corridors. Interesting. So this makes like a very large space in here with a lot of different doors available in it. And then engineering just is kind of blocked off like that. Golf courts, I like that. There's a bit of a cheeky tone with the owner of this ship. So she would definitely have a cart, a golf cart of some kind to zip around in the various corridors here. So here's some doorways to get into the bridge. Remember, everything's just a suggestion. So just a sort of hint. I think this is like the science bay over here, and it has these little, I don't know, observation scanner pods. Who knows what these things are? Come on now. Come on now. You're in the mountains now, boy. Come on now. All right. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, I know there's all kinds of things that are normally included and all kinds of details and all that kind of good stuff, but I'm just not getting into all of it. I leave a lot of that to GMs and players. 1, 2, 3. Let's use a big pen. Make some of this just sort of solid. Those of you who have checked out my warp shell map kit, you know that, yeah, sometimes I do get insanely specific with my starship maps, but not this one. This one is relatively simple. Partially because we're doing all these here in one sort of sitting today. So I think this could be like a gun armory, military things kind of room. You always need one of those. And then we've got like a gun array here on the side of the ship where missile packs are launched and chafe pods, flares, all kind of reside, various weapon systems for the ship. Right. So what's fun here is you don't necessarily get like a perfect feeling to things, but you get in that mood. You get in that sci-fi mood by seeing sort of science fiction looking stuff. Hey, thanks, Kuchigari. Appreciate it. Like there's a big screen thing back here, little keyboard control system in front of it. There's like some mainframe computers. They got some little plug-in stuff going on. Wall nodes. Here's another little workstation. A couple of screens. Yeah, these are like scanner pods or some kind of deep space experiment stuff, whatever. What matters, it's just like with Red Sword, what matters more than any given specific thing is the thematic naming of these spaces really gives players and the GM like, you know, brain fuel. So we're gonna have like 3 reactors. They're just these kind of look like caramel candy things. So there's 3 reactors in engineering. Here's like a little workstation. These reactors, we're gonna, here, let's put like a little, like an atomic little doodad in here. Just, you know, this is kind of just abstract drawing, honestly. I'm not really drawing any specific object in perspective or anything. I'm just kind of making suggestions like this. These are kind of the reactor thingies. There's like, you know, floor vents and floor conduits and stuff. There we go. You really want to drive home these heavy lines so that the eye can see the separated rooms, especially in sci-fi where things get a little crazier. Tank in the science bay. Oh, like a weird tank, like a, well, everything's top down, so I don't know if it'll really read, but here, there you go. It's a circle. Let's come back to this capture bay. It has directly back from the front, it has a winch station right here. Right, because you want to send this kind of grapple gun out to retrieve space cargo. So this is like your grappler right here. All right. Now we do have a ship parked in here, and it is Chubb's. It is a sort of recovery sled style ship. Let me see, how does it work? Oh yeah, it has these round things on the front. And like, here's the cockpit. It's a very like back heavy ship. It's mostly engine, kind of like a tugboat for space is how I imagined it. Again, you can see this thing in perspective in Equinox, but I don't want to color that in. I want to color this in because it's the cockpit. And the cockpit always has these cool little ribs on it. Right, there's some little nav wings here, little steering wings. Big engines on the back. All right, so this is the little ship that's parked over here, and it has a little fueling unit. And then there's like skid marks and stuff in this bay where things have happened. You've got some storage over here, some big crates. Some barrels in there, the old crate and barrel, as they say, and then put some shadows to give it some substance. Notice I'm really trying to haul butt now. Cool, and this is plenty for what I'm hoping to achieve here. Great. Now, do I really want this to just be open? I don't like that, so I'm going to do like a narrow corridor set like this, because narrow corridors in sci-fi are super fun and exciting when there's some horrific aliens, and there's always horrific aliens. There we go. So is the bridge blocked off from these corridors? Like that? No, it doesn't feel natural. The feng shui gets all weird. So you come down this corridor, maybe there's a little workstation here, do some diagnostics on the ship. narrow corridor there, and you get a narrow corridor here. So that you actually enter, there we go. So you enter the bridge from a kind of a side point like that. Right, so this kind of doesn't exist. There we go. So this is how you go up to the bridge right here. So this is drawn wrong. This needs to come down to form a doorway. There we go. Cool. So now you have these kind of narrow corridors back here going to engineering. Right? Cool. Digging it, feeling it for show. I think too that like maybe the science module can be jettisoned. So this is like Dead Space in here. Not a reference to the video game franchise, but this is just straight up Dead Space. So we're gonna have to do some cross hatching to make that work. So I'm gonna use some light line work to kind of suggest that this is just the surface of the ship. There's nothing in here. Okay, then as for the weapons room, we have like a little armory, little arsenal kind of setup. Maybe there's some weapons on the wall here. This is like a little seat to operate the main like railgun. And then we just need a workstation, which I'm just representing by these kind of rectangles with a little keyboard in front of it. And that, as they say, is just about that. As far as the Gigan goes. So let's get our white marker and do a little bit of detailing in these dark areas because they kind of just look a little bit left behind, neglected. Kind of see the bottom of the bay surface from this angle. All right. What about a mess hall? I don't really think about all that stuff. I don't really roll into this wanting to show you everything. It is the beginning. It is a start. That's how I look at it. So I don't draw like every little, thing that a starship would have. I kind of let it float a little bit. Cool. All right, so let's get our hatcher out. Doop, 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 doop. And we're gonna go into the areas that are not walkable. Do some loving. Give me that sweet, sweet loving. At loving. There you go. I am no share, madam. I am no share. I don't know if share has anything to do with that. Dang, it's so nice out, y'all. Today is a day to go outside and play, to screw around, ride bicycle, throw a ball, walk dog. It's definitely a tennis ball day. But I've been putting this off, and I had to get in here and put in work with y'all. Cool. It works. No need to nitpick it. Let's call it good right there and just stop. Okay, boop and boop. Now it's the time we're staying motivated will get difficult. Yes, this will be uploaded. I very rarely delete videos and don't archive them, so Yeah, Bruno, if you need that brush, just hit me up. I can email it to you. All right, so hey, we're on the third layer now. What is it? It's the hive. Now this one is not a little subset space. So right, we're kind of got this subset space. The hive is almost the whole sheet. So let me throw down my hash marks, get some outline going so it can kind of contain my eye. All right, there we go. The hive is this map. This is going to be spicy. Whew, partially because I've already done the other two. So my brain is like, why don't you go have a snack? Why don't you stop doing this dumb project of yours? you know how the brain is with that stuff. Now here I'm going to start at the end of the hive. This is the layer of Edimu. And so like Edimu is massive. So how can I do this? I think it's a precipice. So the hive ends in this crazy precipice like this. So I'm going to imply the precipiceness with these pinnacles. Because when you're kind of looking at this kind of false angle, right, I can't truly show you a precipice. It would be kind of impossible because of the perspective, right? But I can imply it. I can make you feel verticality even though I can't show it. Another idea here would be to do this map side view. Could be cool. No, I'm committed to this precipice concept. All right, I'm feeling it, feeling it. So now what we're going to do is build up to the structure that exits onto the precipice. And it's not in perspective. Like that, there's the exit right there. So let's, here we're going to 1, 2, 3. There you go, big eraser. Right, so this is where, if at all, Edimu can be encountered. All right, we're gonna have to do some beehivey kind of stuff. We're gonna have to do some insectoid shapes. And then we've got numerous entries down here. And you'll see what I mean here pretty soon. Okay, there's, what's that, 4? There's 4 entries. These are just little peripheral holes to make it believable. All right. And away we go. Let's see if we can execute this weird optical illusion to make this work. Let's say. And yeah, just kind of every once in a while, I just run out of things to say because I'm just concentrating on drawing. All right, so these are like these sort of bulby shapes. Sweet, sweet loving. So you see how you kind of get this blobby effect? Now to drive it home, I'm gonna get rid of this borderline. Straight lines and blobby things just are not friends. They had a falling out in high school and they've just never been the same since. There we go. Yeah, no, and screw like a fixed amount. There's just numerous possible entrances represented by these holes. Streaming Friday, I'm not sure. I don't really have a game to report on, but we could always just do our kind of usual kind of theory thinking about GMing. Definitely have some learning from MaceCon that I would love to share. I love being a player. You know, you want to be a good game master, you've got to be a player. You got to understand what players are thinking about. And this is, if you guys, do follow my publications, that is a forthcoming publication, is my new kind of crazy-brained deep think on game mastering called Manifesto. So keep an eye out for that. It has about 50 or so completed pages so far. Cool. There you can feel it and see how weird that transition in perspective is. Like down here, it's sort of the bottom or the front. And then by the time you get to the top of the map, it's like this crazy, it's so bizarre. So here's like the horizon, right? You're going to see the horizon because we're looking off this precipice. And you got like classic weird alien shapes on the horizon. Way off in the distance, you got these little lines. Right? That's great. So now you can kind of feel that sensation of like looking off this kind of cliff. Yeah, definitely 70s rock poster John going on here for show on the reels. Okay, so what is the structure of this thing and why? I honestly do not know currently. So let's go with our gut and say, like, here's an entrance. Here's an entrance. And these are an entrance. Always such a relief to return to like natural shapes and stuff after trying to do, something like a star freighter or, a fortress or anything sci-fi, honestly, is always quite challenging because the shapes want to be controlled more. All right, so there we go. 3 entrances, right? I will not be doing an Art Nouveau border. Yeah, the manifesto is definitely getting a lot of interest. It's kind of my exercise in really hard thinking as far as making premises, using logical proof to reach conclusions and theses, and be absolutely absolute about the answers given and the ideas around game mastering. So what's going on in the hive? What kind of gameplay am I looking at? It's kind of like 1, 2, like part 3, and then boss, right? So 1 could be like the Combs. My man Puffy Combs is up in the place to be. This route is going to be a weird circuitous side entrance to the Combs because that's fun. And then the Combs are kind of like these like sort of blocky. And then you're like, hankering, you've blocked off the rest of the map. How are we supposed to get there? Well, I feel like there's like a central feel to things here. So like they have, in some ways this sort of controlled geometry. And then you've got to have, we have to basically reprise the hexagonal geometry a little bit. So let's do that. Reprise meaning like, bring it back, like, call back to earlier in the adventure. And let's get a little wacky here and do this. We're going to kind of overlap. That's actually an octagon. Don't do that. Do I look like Chuck Norris to you, bruh? So I'm kind of just breaking up perspective and breaking up logic almost, just to kind of get my head in the space of what this might be, how this structure really works. Because I kind of don't know, but it feels like it's, you know, these kind of oddly intercombined hexagonal spaces, kind of like my hive room design from YouTube from, geez, 2 years ago now. So the wall leading to the precipice is now a more regular type shape. And notice I'm doing a lot of work here zoomed out because I'm trying to get the feel for this space more so than get into any kind of little thingies. Okay, cool. Interesting. Interesting. What comes next? Hive cells or caverns? Yeah, everything is a hive cell here. Like, this may look like a cavern, but this is actually sort of a walkway for insects. And now let's do some crazy stuff along these walls, give it some sort of height and some dimension. A good way to create kind of like blocky straight line shapes is to make your hand more rigid. So that you kind of only move in straights. Getting hungry for my lunchtime. When's snack? Mrs. Gerblins? Mrs. McGillicuddy, when's snack? Crazy. Crazy, but I think it's starting to get the message across. So let's make sure my pen is just a wee bit smaller, and we're going to get into some of the details here, like how these things are sort of made. And we also want to get into some stretchy fibers, filaments, if you will. And believe me, you will. All right. So in here, there is like some kind of a watcher thing. I don't know what this is, but it's like a weird eyeball thing that's part of the map. See, it's got one of those weird like fly eyes. I have no idea what this is or what I'm implying here. I just know that it belongs here. I don't know how to explain that, but there you have it. I wouldn't worry about it too much. And there, I don't think there is a path out onto this huge precipice. Like, I'm not sure like Adimu really cares about, like, Adimu is like a demigod, so I don't think it really cares. But you know, to make the precipice cool, we could pull a what's it called, Vorheim or whatever, Vorlag, the planet where the Soul Stone lives. So let's put like one cool like alien rock shape here. do these kind of scalloped sort of shapes. Oop, ran out of room. Here we go. And then, whoop, there we go. Scalloped. It's when you use concave lines to draw a convex object. There we go. So almost has an insectoid mandible kind of shape language to it there. And that's kind of where Idemu is like evoked. Like maybe Idemu is actually a flying insect creature, and this is kind of where he is fed or invoked in some way. And then there are these all along here. These weird waxy little vestibule thing, little chambers. Okay. This doesn't belong here. What if a GM doesn't want to do this? I just want this eyeball idea, but I'm not sure how to execute it. I don't think it's really a teleporter. I don't think these guys would have teleportation. They use these gravity webs to travel the universe. So anyways, let's work on the filaments because I know I want the filaments. What are the settings on the brush you're using? There are none. There you go. So I'm using the hard oval with, you know, taper on pen pressure. That's it. I have smoothing turned on, but I mean, that's it. It's the whole. Embryos. Embryos. All right, well, we can do some embryos, but first, I'm going to do these filaments. I keep saying it, I'm putting it off, and I'm not happy about it. Here we go. Pen's a little small. Filaments, you guys, filaments. And then we're going to do some sort of like almost alien type shapes. Filaments. Okay. Flagella. Yo, did you see that hologram of Tupac at Flagella? That was amazing. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay, like time, just I was really running away from me here. Getting tired. Need a break. I don't like that. Wow, this is crazy, man. Bring this whole thing down a little bit. There we go. This is downright bonkers. I really need to do some line weight work. I don't know if I'm going to do embryos and grubs and pupae and stuff. I don't know if I really want to get into that. I'll put a grub right there. There you go. I think what I need is just better line weight. And you notice there's not a not a lot of familiar concepts in here, like a campfire and this, that, and the other thing. This is not a familiar environment. This is weird. It's like, I'm going to do a perception roll on these hexagons. I don't even know what you're looking at. I'm going to need help on that. But what I do know is I need line weight to read this image. Plus, this is for publishing, so you got to make it cool. You got to make it high vis, baby. All right, there we go, there we go, there we go. Nice and burly, nice burly bear, burly beef. Okay, you had the burly beef and you had the burly burger. Hi, welcome to Burly Burger. Can I get you a burly beef or a burly burger? You want the barbecue burly or the burly soup can burger, which comes with soup. It's our most popular soup combo, is the new burly burger soup combo. Wow. Really sound like a person that should be committed to a mental recovery facility. Okay, so right now I'm just making this line set stronger, so you get this feeling of solidity. And then I can feel this confusion, like which parts can I walk in right now? I don't know. That's where our fast hatch comes into play. Fast hatch. Fast hatch. Fast hatch. Fast hatch. Fast hatch. Fast hatch. If you guys haven't checked out my Tabletop Session podcast, it is on Spotify. The average episode is about 30 minutes of continuous music, which is frequency designed, optimized for tabletop background music use, meaning there are no lyrics and there's not a lot of high frequency sound, so it's easy to talk over. And there are sort of ambient portions as well as different emotional movements to back players saying things and doing things. That's Azal, A-Z-A-L on Spotify. Get on there. Since I started using the Spotify podcast to publish, been getting a lot of listens. So that's exciting. That's just kind of my side thing I do to unwind. I just work on, this kind of abstract music, synthesizer music. A lot of fun synthesizer enthusiasts out there. You know who you are. Okay. This is Bonzo land, isn't it? This is crazy town. This is what I'm feeling, is crazy town. So at some point, I don't even think there are bodies here. I don't think people have ever been here. There are no bodies. There's no sign of civilization or people in any way. Burly Bob's has live song, Burly Burger, Brooklyn Burly Burger. You want the burly beef or barbecue burly burger? Burly sauce on the side, double burly fries with a burly pot pie. You feel that the shapes on the bottom Oh, I see. Like they're right here, so that there's the sort of similar perspective. I'm kind of game for that. Well, yeah, I'm game for that. Here, let's try this. I'd like the burly pot pie with extra burly sauce, 2 barbecue burly burgers, and a burly burger soup combo. Can we get 3 burly shakes And 2 more burly burgers because we really like the burly burgers. Thank you and good day, sir. All right. So here we're going to repeat these shapes a little bit to create the sense of an exit. Burly creme brulee for dessert. Hold the brulee with double creme. Give me the burly beef. I'll have a barbecue burly burger, 2 burly pot pies, and burly brulee. Welcome to Burly Boy. Can I take your burly burger, burger? Okay, so now let's do our cross hatching so that we get a clear read on what is not walkable. Especially because it's kind of crazy. We really need that. Burly. Can I get a burly burger on table 4? They just finished their burly beef and now they want a barbecue burly burger. Sorry, we're all out of burly brulee today. So doing this kind of has an interesting side effect. It reveals that these hexagons here are somehow usable chambers. So there's going to be text to go with these maps. And so in that text, I can kind of get into what is implied by those chambers, what we're dealing with there. Welcome to Burly Boy. Can I take your order? Hi, I'm Bonnie. This is Brenda. Welcome to Burly Boy. We have a special today on barbecue burly burgers. Oh, that's great. That's my son's favorite. Your son is dead. There you go. You kind of get that magic-y map feel, right? Has a cool feel to it. What am I missing here? What would you like for your burly beverage? We've got burly bubble tea. We've got burly beer. I'll have a burly butter beer with a burly barbecue burly burger, a burly butter beer, and a soup combo. And can we get a burly brulee with double sauce? Hold the brulee. And 1 burly beef. My son loves burly beef. He loves the burly burgers and he loves the burly brulee. I need a burly beverage. Your son is dead. Rachel. Where's Rachel? Rachel. Where's Rachel? All right, you guys, I gotta stop. I've had enough. I'm losing my burly brain. Rachel. Where's Rachel? All right. Can I get the burly burger with the double barbecue burly sauce, 2 burly brulees, burly bevies, 3 burly butter beers, and a side of mayonnaise, please? The answer is no, sir. We do not serve mayonnaise here. Well, that is burly bullshit, my friend, because I want some mayonnaise on my burly burger. Let me talk to your burly boss. All right, that was pretty good. Come on. You deserve a burly break. Take a burly break today at your local burly burger. The scenery section needs shading to create depth. Oh my God, though. Instead of doing that, I think I will just strengthen some of these lines. I don't want to get into shading as a concept per se, because that is a slippery slope, my friend. You shade one thing, you have to shade everything. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to let your brain process what the hell this may mean. I am going to add some little burly bugs down here, though. Maybe there's little burly bugs throughout. And I didn't get around to one thing that I wanted in here, which is like these sort of bug, these like repeating bug leg shapes like this kind of stuff. But I don't know if it's really needed. Just feels like noise almost. But it's fun because it implies something. Like, that's cool. And then there's a little gap under, there's a little shadow under here. Like, what the hell is this? This is like some Venus flytrap type stuff. Welcome to Burly Burger. Let me talk to your burly boss, because this is some bullshit. This is burly bullshit. My son wants his burly beef. Your son is dead. Where's Rachel? This stream's getting mega stupid by the moment. So I'm going to kind of drive this home by adding these weird things. What are these things? I have no idea. And they got to have a few clusters of eggs here and there, right? So let's just do a few eggs. And I think I'm going to call it good. Just random insect legs stuck in the walls, and they swipe at you. Yeah, I like that. I'm calling this good right now. I'm hitting Control Save. I'm going to end. My burger was barely burly. Welcome to Burly Burger. Can I take your order? Yeah, I'd like 2 burly beefs, 2 barbecue burly burgers, a burly soup combo, burly beverage, and 3 burly butter beers. And I want my burger extra burly with double burly buffet, something or other. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. This has been Mapping with your homie over here, Ingrid Bernal, here on Runehammer. And if you want to see the adventure module that these maps appear in, it is called Equinox. It will be free on Patreon and probably appear somewhere else. Who knows? It's like about 15 pages, kind of a crazy interplanetary story between sci-fi and the Ice Age, where they come together to defend the cosmos from an insectoid menace called Idimu. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. It's been super fun. Catch you on Friday, and we'll talk about more cool stuff. Have a good week. Well, the remainder of the week, i.e. tomorrow, and I'll see you Friday. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out. Now I just have to figure out how to end